Where can you go and meet hundreds of people just like you, strengthen existing relationships and forge new ones with vendors and distributors, and meet some of the biggest names in the industry, where you can go and see the newest tech and services that you need to make your IT business grow. And there'll be thousands of pounds worth of prizes up for grabs. Then what's more, you'll get that for £1. TechMax 2023 will be on the 23rd of June at Magna Adventure and Science Centre near Meadowhall in Sheffield. This event will be over 4 times larger than last year's event, and this year's event will incorporate a live tech awards, dedicated meeting rooms, demo and interactive areas, and up to 800 other techs just like you. Get registered now at tftmax.com. Where can you go and meet hundreds of people just like you, strengthen existing relationships and forge new ones with vendors and distributors, and meet some of the biggest names in the industry, where you can go and see the newest tech and services that you need to make your IT business grow. And there'll be thousands of pounds worth of prizes up for grabs. Then what's more, you'll get that for £1. TechMax 2023 will be on the 23rd of June at Magna Adventure and Science Centre near Meadowhall in Sheffield. This event will be over 4 times larger than last year's event, and this year's event will incorporate a live tech awards, dedicated meeting rooms, demo and interactive areas, and up to 800 other techs just like you. Get registered now at tftmax.com.
You're watching Tech Talk in affiliation with Tech for Techs. We're a community that supports independent trade with the help of vendors and distributors. We're live every Thursday at 8 p.m. London time, and we'll be streaming to Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, Google, TuneIn, and many more. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, and your host, Philip Griffiths.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Tech Talk. This is a live show where we help your IT business grow, or at least try to anyway. My name is Philip Griffiths, and this is...
I'm Jenny, and we are your hosts for this evening.
Right, so before we start and before we get into the topics, can you please let us know if you can hear and see us? So obviously we know we're not talking to ourselves.
Yes.
We do realise, though, there is a 20 seconds delay usually in the time I ask and you're able to reply. So I will start off. But if you are a Facebook user and you post and your name comes up and says... that your name is, well, Facebook user, you need to click this link. I'm just putting into the chat now so you can see it there. So let's just post that. So it looks like William says he can hear us.
That's great.
Either that or he's calling for a cab. I don't know, but
Either way.
yeah. But there we go. So it looks like at least one person's watching, and at least one person can hear us. So I think we'll start from there. So let's talk about today's topic. So today's topic is a random topic. So it's basically up to you guys in the chat and the guests, which we've got Cormac today as well as Ian. They'll introduce themselves in a few seconds. Basically, they're going to be bringing up the topics, and you guys can bring up the topics, and we'll just go around and talk about each aspect and go from there. So if you've got any questions, whether it's how often Cormac eats potatoes, or you want to know information about gaming PCs from Ian, or anything along that lines, let us know, and we can, well, do our best to answer. So if Cormac is still awake, we'll go to Cormac first. I'll let him to introduce himself and tell you why he's so tired.
I'm back in the game, right? Back in the game. I'm Cormac from Crosshaven Computers. Just follow me on TikTok. That's it. That's all I'd say. And actually, I'm delighted that Ian's on the show with us tonight. So I'm looking forward to this conversation and our heated debate on life. I'm tired because I was up since 5 o'clock this morning, actually, but I'm up most mornings around 5. So really, and hi Sean from Donegal. And I'm actually, my tip of the week actually is going to be some person from the group, Cloud Dolphin. And with that, I want to say Cloud Dolphin and Tech for Techs is my tip of the week. And the reason being is that one of the reasons I was up so early, we got a big, got a big kind of contract job today for big for us, 20 odd computers, but it's a company that maps the seabed and stuff, so they'll be using an awful lot of data. They'll be using powerful computers and stuff, and it's actually an interesting thing. When I went out, now I know this guy for a while, and he's very, very easy to deal with anyway, but whenever I go out to these interviews for companies as such, I've said this before, one of the things I will always do, and it's a power move, but it's also a lifestyle move, because I'll walk in and we'll start the conversation, and they're there to interview you as such as well. I will always turn around straight off in the conversation and say, look, I came over for a chat. Let's see how it goes, because we don't take on every client. And that automatically throws the ball. But it's also very, very true. I'm around long enough in this game now to kind of go, I don't need the stress. And if a customer is not going to listen to where the experts are. Now, this gentleman did, fair play to where the experts. I'm not going to do things half measures. If they don't take, we'll say, our antivirus, or more importantly, cloud backup, I will walk if they won't take cloud backup, because if there's a breach or if something goes on and something, they will never turn around and say, oh, they'll say, who was doing your IT? Crosshaven Computers was doing our IT, and no backups. Oh, yeah, they will never turn around and say, well, we refused because for cost reasons. They won't. So your name's been dragged through the mud. And also, I generally will only, and like everyone else, we're out there to hustle and earn money, but I will only work with people who let us do our work. I will not let them tell us. I don't go in and tell them how to run their company, and it's the same thing, But why I'm saying Cloud Dolphin is that they have an awful lot of data to back up, okay? Maybe 4 to 6 terabytes of data. And now I've been using Cloud Dolphin for a while. but one of the reasons is that I got back to my office. I'm obviously things going through my head, wondering, and I said, how much this backup and this and that, and I put in an email to Kieran, and he got onto me and rang me straight away and went, look, basically he went, this is how you should do it, and this and that, and also he came in and he said, if you want, Tin, he can help me out, and which to me it's a lot of data to back up. It's not, there could be faults backing it up and all that. And for me, I don't know, I haven't compared costs with anyone else, but what I will pay for peace of mind, I am just delighted that any time that I had any questions with Cloud Dolphin, and that's the power of the Tech for Tech groups, I would prefer to be able to reach out. It might be bigger companies, there will be bigger companies than him out there, but they won't be the same level of service, okay? And I swear to God, we will all go on about shopping local. This is what we all do in our shops. I like going to the Tech for Tech group. I will buy off the Tech for Tech. I will buy refurbish off Tech for Techs. I'm quite happy to send money to England to the people I'm buying off, knowing darn well that the Tech for Tech's name will protect me on that. That's one of the reasons why, with the Brexit, which I hate with a passion, but let's not go through politics. One of the reasons why I didn't switch to getting my laptops in from Europe, because I didn't, and there was an awful lot of hassle trying to get things sorted out, and I didn't because I respect the Tech for Tech group, and they in general respect us back. So yeah, I will give a big huge shout out, because now I have peace of mind. That was the only complicated thing about the job. And then I'm going to be using Emisoft. I use Emisoft because, again, from the group and stuff, and I'll be using Emisoft, and I know darn well if I have a question, because there'll be a lot of programs running that I don't want to trigger and this and that, I can get on to David, and David will be on my case, because David has
It's
answered.
so user friendly.
Yeah.
It is very user friendly.
So that's that's the beauty of the group. So Tech for Tech and Cloud Dolphin is my pick of the week.
Okay, that's brilliant, Cormac. Yeah, it's always nice when people want to work with you and want to help out, and we're the same from our point of end. We obviously, a lot of people say, why do we promote necessarily some brands over others? And it's mainly because they want to interact with us, which obviously makes us want to obviously promote them. Because, well, if a company comes to us and basically says, oh, will you promote us? And it's like, well, we're not just going to say and shout your name out and never hear from you again, and you just want all our members to go and buy all your stuff. We're just not going to do that. So we want people to, and that's the whole idea of Tech for Tech, is for everyone to work together. So that's pretty good.
If we try and contact you and we can't get in contact with you, and you don't return our calls and your emails and things like that, how can I tell the members of the Tech for Tech community that you should go to this company because they have great customer service if I can't even get through?
Yeah.
So I will make sure that I don't recommend you in my group if you don't return my calls and emails. And I'm having trouble with a few people right now that are on my short list. And they know who they are.
Yeah.
And I won't say right now, but it would be in your best interest to return my phone calls.
Yeah, so Jenny's got a nice little black book, so and you're in it. Right, okay, so let's quickly just go through the chat. So it looks like people can hear us. I think Cormac already said hi to Sean. Ian saying loud and clear. We've got Richard Creedy saying evening all, and we've got a LinkedIn user saying evening all. Hope weather has improved for you. Have you got much snow, Cormac, at the moment?
No, we have Irish snow, which is rain.
Right, okay.
Rain.
I'll let you off.
Rain.
That's actually a soap in America, Irish snow or something like that.
Okay.
Irish Spring, maybe, I don't know, something like that.
No idea. Right, let's go on to Ian then. So Ian's the first time comer on the show, so he's breaking his streaming virginity is probably the best way of putting it. I think his missus actually dragged him into it more than himself, actually. So, but if you want to introduce yourself, Ian, let us know about yourself, about your company, and if you've got any shout outs or stories or tips you'd like to obviously share with us.
Yeah, Ian for Blue Box PC. We build gaming computers, do repairs, based in Reading. Just go back to what Cormac said, actually. One thing I picked up there. One thing we've always said is that there's business you want and business you don't want. And sometimes if you get that feeling in your stomach that there's something not right or it's going to be more hassle than it's worth, walk away. It is better to walk away from the business than spend 6 weeks messing around with it.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
Or even worse, getting your name dragged through the mud because of taking it on.
Yeah, 'cause people will tell 10 people a bad situation. They'll only tell one person that had a good situation. So it's much easier to always walk away. If you've got that feeling and there's something about it, walk away.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, that is. So before we go on to the news and so forth, let's just quickly go to the chat. We've got that first. So we've got William also says it's snowing a little here in the Isle of Man, which is we've had quite a bit of snow today, haven't we? But I think a lot of it's gone again. It's sort of turned a bit mushy now, but it'll probably get a bit more overnight. And Richard is saying, I'm terrible at answering emails and phones when I'm busy.
Oh, Richard, answer your emails, hon, because you are only as good as your word and your work ethic in business. I know it's hard to answer when you're busy, but make the time because the communication is so key. I can't stress it enough. You really need to communicate with your customers. I find that when people don't communicate with me, it's when I get all stressed out. And the last thing you want is a stressed out customer or a stressed out Jenny for that matter. And, that goes back to my business 101 things. Emails, answer them. Phone, answer them. You're only as good as your word. And pay your bills on time. Don't make people chase you up. They don't want to chase you up. There's things they could other be doing than that. So don't make them chase you about your bills. They do it because you've left them no other choice. And when you don't pay it on time, it says a lot about how dependable you are.
We get that a lot. We get that a lot actually with people. We have the phones and we answer the phone, and then people are shocked that we've answered the phone. And you think, what are people doing? Because ultimately, that's my job. My job is to answer the phone and take that call. If I don't take the call, I don't make money.
Yeah, that's a very good point. In the sense that one of the things that Ian and Jenny are saying, one of the things that I find so surprising, we ring back everyone if we missed a call. Obviously, I won't take a call if I'm in a meeting, blah, blah, blah. And the amount of people who say, oh, thank you for ringing us back. I'm like, wow, that's the basic. And it just shows the bad service. It just shows if Ian, as he's saying, if you're ringing them back, that's brilliant. That's it. That's all people want. And they'll buy off people they can talk to,
Yeah.
I called one gentleman this week. Every day I've called him and left at least 2 voicemails in his voicemail box. I have yet to hear back from him. Yeah. Now that says a lot about people.
Mm-hmm. What we found as well is we've put call recording in place, and that has revolutionized everything as well, because if a customer asks us to do something, we have a physical record of the conversation, and we can then play that back to them and email them that. So we've got actually a record of what the conversation was, and then we put that into our CRM, so we have a record longer term of that conversation, and that's good. Huge.
Because there's no failure to communicate, then you have it on a transcript, and it's in front of you. They cannot say, but I told you this. No, you told me this. And you can email it back and forth. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, some things, if you are struggling with your phones, there are obviously call answering services you've got out there. We do have one listed in the discount area of the Tech for Tech, so if you can't find it, Richard, let us know. Also, maybe if you're slow at doing emails, just say to people or put an automatic responder on, we'll reply to emails within 24 hours or something like that.
We did on Facebook.
and then what you do is set a time. Say, let's just say 10 minutes or something every morning, just to go through your emails or something like that before you do your first job or something like that. Just something to keep up. It's one of those things. Is you have to be constant at it and consistent. If you're not, then like we said, we get annoyed when people don't answer our phones and messages and stuff like that. So I would recommend probably looking into the answer machine option, as in it's not like a recorded message, it's an actual other person at the end of the phone who will answer it for you and then pass you on the message, and it gets rid of the time wasters as well and stuff like that. Maybe something to have a look for. But yeah, so yeah, it's a good idea, Richard. Go for them in the morning. Maybe just put an automatic message on there when you do receive them. If it's a Google based, it's usually pretty easy to set that up, or you can usually do it in Outlook or something. Just an automatic reply, a bit like when you go on holiday. You put a holiday response on, saying you're on holiday for whatever. Just change it to something like, say, we'll get back to you within 24 hours, and then within a working day, obviously.
When I email the big companies and I get the automatic reply that I'm on holiday until the 4th, and I'll answer my emails then, I go, right, he's not ignoring me. And I'll mark down the 4th next to Joe Blow's name. And right, here's when I can contact him again and expect a response. It actually gives me, it erases that he's not answering the message. I actually know that there's a good reason that I'm not getting answered.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Right. Williams just says about, obviously, make sure GDPR, you obviously data protection laws and stuff, if you are recording stuff and you're keeping them and so on, you're protected against all that. So just double check that. He's put a few good responses on there. Thank you, William. Right, before we go any further, we've got to do one thing first, and that is this. Where can you go and meet hundreds of people just like you, strengthen existing relationships and forge new ones with vendors and distributors, and meet some of the biggest names in the industry, where you can go and see the newest tech and services that you need to make your IT business grow. And there'll be thousands of pounds worth of prizes up for grabs. Then what's more, you'll get that for a quid. TechMax 2023 will be on the 23rd of June at Magna Adventure and Science Centre near Meadowhall in Sheffield. This event will be over 4 times larger than last year's event, and this year's event will incorporate a live tech awards, dedicated meeting rooms, demo and interactive areas, and up to 800 other techs just like you. Get registered now at tftmax.com.
And speaking of TechMax, we had a few names join up to TechMax this week. And would you like to get the screen up there, Phil, for me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right.
Sorry, start on the list. It's decided
up these days.
That's it. It's decided to rearrange itself, but there we go.
Right. We had Thrustmaster sign up. They're going to be there along with Akasa, Seasonic, Glorious, Colink, Lindley, In-Game Gear, Fantex, Eurosoft, Stremplify, Thunder X3, MZSoft.
And that's the ones from this week.
That's this week.
And we do have other ones.
The others that will be there are ISL Online, Norton Security, Strong, Apesa, Bugs and Bytes Computing, that's Ben Ashcroft, VIP, ALM's Wholesale, that's Sam McNally, Cherry, Case King, Lexar, Target Components, Hammer, TechPoint Distribution, Spire Technology, Replace Base, EADR, that's Allison, CUDA, PAX 8, Aracool, that's Dean Shaw for those of you wanting to know, and that's my main sponsor for TechMax.
And we do have a new sponsor as well
Yes, we
coming
do.
for the evening.
And our new sponsor for the evening, No. Oh, yeah, for the drinks. Sorry. The evening drinks. That's Cuda. I thought he meant the evening meal. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, Cuda is our drink sponsor. So when you're up at the bar, living it up, give a little cheers to Cuda for your drinks.
There we go. So that's the guys who will be exhibiting at the moment. Obviously, we're going to be announcing a lot more. With a lot of them are all finalising and so forth. So there's a lot more yet to come. So we've already got way more than last year signed up. I can't even remember how many we got signed up now, but it's a lot more than we had at the whole event last year. Same with tickets. They're going quick as well. So if you haven't got a ticket for the event, I would suggest you do, because they are starting to really pick up in sales now. Right. So what's next on the agenda?
Just to remind them that only day tickets are left, and that if you don't need a lunch ticket, then you can get one for 99p even. And if you need lunch, well, then of course we can handle that. Just go ahead and book one for £1. That's it. That £1 only for lunch and getting all this networking. Right. Moving right along, the Tech Awards. I need you all to go to www.tech4techs.co.uk/awards and nominate your favorite distributor, your vendor, your outsource, or even promote your own business by naming yourself off for an award. Nominations close on the 20th of this month. Winning an award can do so much for your business and open so many doors for it. I know this to be true. So don't miss out on your chance to win big.
There we go. And there's lots of awards as well. There's 20 awards to put your names down for. You can nominate yourself. You can nominate others as well. You can nominate multiple people. Make sure you do it. You only need one vote to get through to the next round. So make sure you fill it in. We've also got best signage on vehicles, shops, and so forth. So make sure you obviously get that done. You can find that on the Tech for Tech's website, along with obviously TechMax and everything else we do as well, if you need to. And I'll get rid of that. That's me talking. So
remember, you can't win it if you're not in it.
There we go.
Right. And sorry.
No, go. I've been saying anything.
You snoring there, Cormac, were you?
No, I was looking at it, and it reminded me of a different award, and I was like, I have to nominate things. About the awards there, about the quick question about the awards. When the nominees come, they're voted by the general public as well, are they?
So the nominations or the actual votes?
I don't know the difference. Go on. I know the nominees are by us, all right? But they vote. Who vote? Is Ian going to vote for me? Like, who
I'll
vote
vote for you, mate.
To nominate is to submit the name forward.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Vote is to vote for the name that's already down on the ticket.
Yeah, so like if we get nominated, do we go to our social media channels and get every one of our customers to try to vote for us?
Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Ian, I'm holding you to that vote, man. All right. We'll tie this up.
Some of the categories, for example, best websites and stuff, there's only your customers who are going to know that, and customer service and stuff. So it's really got to be them who answers those questions. We will split the areas up. So obviously the distributors will be in one area, vendors will be in another, and then techs, shops and stuff will be in another area. So you're not suddenly asking customers to vote for the best distributor when obviously they don't know what the distributors are.
Now, obviously, if you do business with somebody in the Tech for Techs community, it would be in your best interest to ask for a vote from them. So
we last, obviously we won online store last year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I have to say it's phenomenal to be able to put that on your website. And it's front. If you look on our website, it's front and center, first page. First thing you see is that we're an award-winning business.
Yeah.
And from our perspective, it just gives a bit more credibility.
The amount of respect you get for being able to say you're an award-winning business is phenomenal.
Monthly award-winning business, all right. All right.
Right. Okay. So There's one last thing what we need to do, and then we go on to the main topic. So
We need to talk about the members of the month in the Tech for Techs community. These people have been the most active, not necessarily the most helpful or knowledgeable, but the most active.
Then you point out Paul.
So there's Paul Webb, Chris Henson, Gav Powell, Peter Whitehouse, Alex Collin, David Withers, Steve Benisi, Stephen Bradshaw, Cormac, of course, and Melvin Donaldson.
there we go.
Yeah, you're not there, man.
I know. Well, that's Katie's job. I'll be having a word with Katie later on.
Katie, Katie out there.
You are going to have to up your game and get in there.
Yeah. Well, she's watching by now. I assume she's probably watching. She's back from the
All right, Katie, time to come on. Up your game, Katie. We're calling you out on live podcast world. Sorry, Katie.
Stop horsing around and get on the show.
Right.
Who knows what I mean by that one. But right, okay, let's get on to the main topic now anyway.
Chat, we've got a message from Kyle. He wants to know who's the new exhibition you was about to mention before getting sidetracked.
New exhibition, the exhibitors. We mentioned, we went through. There's a list of them on the website. Just go to the Tech's website if you missed them. So let me just put that on the screen there. So it's just tftmax.com, and then you'll see a list for exhibitors, and you'll see them all the way down there. There's quite a few. I think there's about 10 what we've added on just in the last week. So just scroll down the list. The newest ones are at the bottom of the list.
If you are a vendor or a distributor and you would like to participate in TechMax, email me, info@techfortechs.co.uk. I'll send you over a packet. We can talk business, and we'll go from there.
There we go. So William's saying, despite working with 80% of the distributors, I've only just found out about Tech for Techs. Well, William, Tech for Techs does a lot of things. Obviously, these guys will tell you about it. But if you go to the Tech for Tech website and then click join at the top corner, I think it's join. I forget the wording now, how we've got it set up, but it's something along that lines. But if you actually go to the website, click on join, and then it'll give you a link to the Facebook group. So we've got over 1,500 members, all techs, like yourself, vendors and distributors in there as well. You can interact with them. We've also got a new forum page, which we have set up as well, which we're growing slowly at the moment.
It's www.tftmember.co.uk, and that's member, not members.
And it's got an interactive map on there, as you can see, forums and lists of stores and so forth. There's a few different bits and bobs, so we're adding people on every day on there. We're just taking it slow and building it slow first, and then we'll be pushing it a little bit more probably after TechMax and adding a few more features and stuff like that. So
right now around here is manic with TechMax things going on, and so it should be. And that's the way we like it, isn't it?
Nice one. So, okay, and William says he's a pending request to be a member as well. So, okay, so I'll have a look at that later for you. It'll probably be in the morning. Right, let's get.
We haven't looked at the request. It is because of what I just said. Everything has been manic around here, and we go through the request. We don't just push everybody through. We make sure they've answered the questions and that they are a legit business and things like that. So we take our membership seriously, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Right, let's get on to the main subject before we run out of time.
Main topic, now that I have someone here building a gaming PC, and I have Phil and Jen, I have a tech question to ask, and maybe the group can ask. This is probably a basic thing for people. I don't mind coming on saying that I don't know everything. Concerning, we'll say if you're using BitLocker, this is part of my job here today, on a computer, it's a gaming computer, well, it's a high-spec computer, yeah? You're using BitLocker, okay? It has 3 drives in there. It has an SSD, well, it doesn't matter what size, and 2 big drives, yeah? When you put BitLocker on, does it encrypt the 3 drives?
That's a good question there. So I'll let Ian answer that one.
I don't know the answer.
No, that's good. You know what? I'm glad I asked that, and we'll get an answer from the group, or we'll put it up, and you might have to bleep something there. But you know what? That just goes, and I'm glad I asked that, because you know what, we can all feel a bit stupid, like, you know, to tell us, oh, I thought maybe that was an obvious question, you know. I don't know what, you know. So I was like, you'll always have to have a bit of courage, especially when you're coming on a show like this, to kind of go, I don't know, man. I see people. I'm like, right. I said, and you know what? You can choose to encrypt each drive individually, I believe. But this is good because I need to know this before I go on site. And in my computer, there's only one drive. Each drive separate. All right. So
that goes to show none of us knows everything, like Cormac says. I didn't know the answer to that one either. So
since he's sure that BitLocker is based on a per drive basis.
Yeah, I think.
And I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm pretty sure that he's right there.
Yeah, well, it sounds about right, but I wouldn't like to say 100%.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be great. Well, yeah. Well, look, you know what? We'll figure out the power of the group. Right. The main topic of conversation. I'm going to start with then because it's. I want to talk to you about what I found interesting. I don't know England as well as you do, even though I lived there for years. And I just want to read out something about the new chat, you know, situation. The Chat GPT, but I like Phil got you know, the trial version in Bing, you know, and what's very interesting. I just asked, and I make this extremely fast.
Oh, Matt, you're breaking up really, really bad. We're gonna have to get you to start over again.
In terms of Chat GPT, we're using it every single day, absolutely every single day. We are using it. We are getting it to write our meta descriptions. It is changing the way we're doing hours of work in minutes using Chat GPT.
Yeah.
We're going to say Chat GPT, what it can do is amazing. Cormac, if you want to re-ask that question, because it was very staticky, and I don't think everyone got.
Was saying you sound like a darling.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
you seem okay now.
Yeah, see, and I'm glad. I would love to hear Ian afterwards how much more which way he's using it in business. But see, this is I have it built into the browser now, which comes with Bing. All right. So what I found interesting is, so I'm trying to figure out, because I was going to fly into Bristol and now I'm flying into Manchester because I'm worried about the train strikes. Yeah. So it only lets you ask 5 questions. Okay. So I'm not going to read out all the questions. But basically I asked it how far is Manchester to Rotterdam? I put in the thing and it said, look, it's
potato.
Sorry, Cormac, your voice has gone again. I don't know what it is, but after you've been speaking for about 10, 20 seconds, you sort of sound like a Dalek, like Richard Creedy says. Just try that last bit again. So what was the question you asked?
About Manchester.
Well, see, it's you ask how far is it from Manchester to Tech for Tech, the convention, okay? Yeah. And it'll answer 2 hours. And then it will ask you, instead of you kind of then going to the next turn and breaking it up, all I had to say, how far by train? And then it said, how far by train? And then it just said, would you like a fast route or a slow route? I said fast. Then it'll give me the fast route. So it breaks down the questions instead of you having to go to 4 different websites. Everything is like a real-time conversation with a human being. It's kind of like a human being who's from Manchester. Oh yeah, that's the best way to go there, and there. And like Ian, and I would love to hear more about how Ian is using it. I'm using it now to write my website. I'm using it to write an application for a grant. I'm using it as you said, metadata, questions for my own podcast show, all these sort of things. Ian, are you going to pay the €20 or the £20 a month?
I paid the £20 a month. No. I was probably one of the first people in the world to have it, because it went on a Saturday morning and I just happened to go in and it was live and I went, buy. And because I thought they might lock it down. I thought I'm paying my £20. It's worth every penny. I can ask as many questions as I want on it. And the beauty about it is you can ask multiple backup questions. So we've been doing things like saying, okay, what are the keywords that are available on the market, in industry? Yeah. Okay, so using those keywords, what are misspellings of those keywords? And then we can run that through our SEO and find SEO keyword matches. And then we can ask secondary questions of it. So, and then you say, taking all this list into account, put it into an Excel format so I can then import it, and it will do all that for you.
And the misspelling is, are you asking the misspelling of those keywords? Because you know that a lot of people are going to make their errors. And that's
I'm asking for misspellings. I'm asking for I'm asking for relevant words that are going to be relevant sentences and can rephrase sentences. So, get gaming computers in Reading. What is a different way that could be said? So different ways that ChatGPT could use that. And the AI is just phenomenal. The descriptions. The only issue we face with it is if you ask it to write me a meta description under 500 words, it just can't do it. It goes and just writes like pages and pages, and you just sometimes have to just keep on doing it. And then you might push say write it under 200 words, and it then might get you down to where it needs to be. There's something about it. It's not clever enough to do that yet.
But I have found that it's a genius at writing an email for someone.
Oh, beautiful!
If you want it to look polished and perfect, it's the thing to go to. I mean, you don't want to use it for things like responding. Yes, here's this lot here. Sorry about that. Blah blah blah, and make an essay of it. But when you're wanting to pitch something to someone that you think they should buy from you or have a service from you, this is the reason why you should have it. You go to that, get the email done, and it will look so professional. I mean, I'm a firm believer in that. It's awesome.
It's good. We were also one of the first ones to spend the £20 a month as well. I think when I first tried it, it says it wouldn't let you actually do it in the UK, and then a day or two later it popped up, and it's like, oh, you can do it now. So
it's like we're having that.
And also it's a lot faster as well than the free version.
Yeah. The question is though, is that if we're all writing data that doesn't exist, when is the point where it goes up its own, in the sense of if we're all putting data out there that it isn't proper content, when does Google start to fall down?
Sorry, Cormac, go ahead.
No, that's a very interesting conversation because two things, and I want to come back to the metadata if you don't mind, because I want to have a question about it. But see, well, that's a very good question, because when is it going to start? Because I was listening to a podcast about this. When is it going to start writing history that doesn't exist? Because it's very easy now to go back and say, can we write World War II from a very right-wing perspective? Put it up on a well-known history site, and now history is that history, if you get my meaning. Is that what? Yeah, so it's a big about the metadata. I have a question.
Well, history has already been rewritten in our history books. I mean, the stuff that I grew up thinking was correct in my history book, I've come over and spent some time over here, considerable amount of time, and things are not always what you've been taught. You will find that out. I know that by just going around some little castles and things like that, and going up to the Tower of London. Henry VIII is not the person that he's made to be in the history books. He was a clever man. He wasn't crazy.
Great husband.
I
just want to ask about the metadata. Sorry.
I was just going to say, you actually had an issue with ChatGPT. If you remember, I think we actually did it in Microsoft, in the Bing ChatGPT. You did a search for yourself, and it came up with the wrong address.
It did, but I went in. I figured that out. I figured out it. See, I reckon it's going to be quite easy, Neri, to game the system once you find out where the pool of information it's coming from. And like if you can get ahead on this, if you can put in like where's the best place to buy a gaming machine in your city, if you know where it's looking for this information, you can gain the system. Search is changing. Search is completely changing. And that's why I was interested
Yeah.
about the metadata there. My website, as Phil saw, I changed my whole shop. There's no such thing really as a shop on my, it's a video. My whole website's going to turn into a video. And now, because Ian gave me the hint, I'm going to go in and put the metadata instead of that. Search is completely changing. But I reckon if we get ahead of the game, and I know Phil is checking everything because we're in communication, and Ian seems to be on. Jenny, I think there's a good opportunity here because SEO is changing. You have to, it's going to change.
Is anyone aware of Web3 at all? Web domain
Yes.
freeze?
No, talk to us
Okay,
about it.
I only came across it today. Do you know about it, Phil? And have you heard of it?
I've not done too much work, to be honest with you, but I've definitely heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, I was quite, when I started looking into it, obviously, we have domains at the moment, and we've got www.com. Okay, and they're held centrally by a central bank, and we buy them and we rent them.
Yeah.
When we go to Web3, what we're actually going to is effectively like a Bitcoin type of thing, where it's in the cloud, it's in the, it's actually blockchain. And what's going to happen is you will buy the your effectively Web3 addresses, and they will be yours for life. But if you don't own the blockchain originally, you can never get it back. Now, the proof of that is, I was looking today, Microsoft. In 1998, Microsoft turned around and went, this web thing's not going anywhere. This internet thing's not going anywhere. And they didn't buy Microsoft.com. It cost them £1 million to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I need to go out to the chat. William was asking, do you not find you're losing your personal touch with the Chat GPT for these things? Well, what I do, William, is basically I'm telling it what I want it to say, and it's polishing it up is the best way of putting it. And then I can read it, and if it's not exactly what I want, I can edit it and, make it my own. It just sort of, it gives me an outline, you might say, of where to go with it. And then if I find that it's not exactly, I can go in and edit it and make it my own. So it just helps me because I'm really bad dyslexic.
So am I.
And when you have something like that,
Oh,
your emails can go, dear sir, blah, 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 blah. And no one will know what you're talking about, and you look very unprofessional with your misspells and your grammar and all stuff like that. So it helps people like me to come across more professional.
My dad, I had that exact thing. I sent one to my dad. I said, what do you think of this, Dad? And he went, you didn't write that. And I went, well, he said, why are you saying that? He said, because it's got grammar in it.
That's so funny. I said it to my dad as well. I said it to my dad. I don't know what sort of approvals we were looking for off our dad, but I sent him something as well. I said, what do you think of that? And his answer, because he's old school with grammar and great handwriter, great speller, great everything, and I'm not. I was, hey, Dad, love me. Look at my writing,
Yeah, I must admit I use it more for guidance than copying it verbatim. Obviously, I like to put my personal touches and obviously everything in it. Obviously, sometimes you can tell what's been written by ChatGPT, but if you trained it well enough and put the right question in and put what you want to tell it in, it can actually come out and look pretty decent, to be honest. But yeah, it can be a bit obvious when you look at what way one person talks normally and then using ChatGPT.
I'll tell you how bad dyslexic I am. Now, I was always this clever little child running around. You could ask me anything, and I would tell you, and it'd be 9 times out of 10 right. But when it got to my spelling test, my teacher noticed something. She says, spell dog. I said, D-O-G. Why? She says, on your paper, you put B-O-G. And I had to train my brain, and this is how I remember the letter D, lowercase, which way the loop went. I had holes in my paper on one side, and I had to remember that the D loop was on the side of the holes in
That
my
was,
paper, and the B went towards the word. I kid you not, I had to do stuff like that.
And the
That's
problem is,
an-
like the red line on words, it doesn't mean anything, because if I type which is which, I ain't got a clue. Don't know. And back in there was a famous cricketer called Graham Gooch, and I wrote down grandma, but actually wrote Graham instead. And I was supposed to write Graham Gooch, but I wrote Grandma Gooch because I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on from ChatGPT so we can talk about some other things. Just a thing, Kyle. It's probably because you mentioned BitLocker is the reason why Facebook's removed it. Anything generally to do with Bitcoin, they seem to be removing. I know BitLocker and Bitcoin's different, but
Yeah.
Facebook seems to be a little bit weird, to be
They're
honest with
not
you.
very clever.
They do seem to be removing a lot of stuff. If you want more freedom of speech, probably the YouTube channel might be the better option. It's just
Yeah.
youtube.com/tech for text. You'll find the live on there. But yeah, it's Facebook's a little bit funny, to be honest with you, with free speech and so forth sometimes.
What is freedom of speech? That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, so yeah, they'll probably charge you for it. But there we go. Right, Ian, do you have a subject you want to talk about which isn't ChatGPT related?
What I was actually going to say about is what's ARM going to do to our industry, ARM chips, because when ARM chips can longer term replace graphics cards, are we going to have the dedicated computers that we have now with the graphics card and the processor and stuff, or are we going to be more moving towards NUCs and PCs that are ready built effectively?
Good question, to be honest with you. Yeah, obviously used a lot in tablets, phones, and so forth. So
Notes are used a lot in the all-in-ones, and they have their place, in my opinion. They really
the
do.
new generation of ARMs is going to include the ability to do graphics and gaming on them, and they are getting as good as some mid-range graphics cards now. So, when you look at a 4090 is now pulling 450 watts, which,
a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 15 pence an hour to run a 4090 at the moment. Longer term, from an efficiency point of view, from a cost perspective, ARM is looking seriously promising.
I never thought that. That's very interesting. So that's
yeah,
they're going to do.
I think it probably find probably for like office and standard home machines that'll probably take over first. Obviously, people are always wanting the best value and so forth. And to be honest, 99% of the home users don't care if it's an AMD or an Intel or what make the SSD is or what the graphics card is. They just want it to switch on and be able to do the work and switch it off again. They don't really give a monkey's what is actually in there. So to be honest, I think it'd be a good thing in some senses, but obviously for retail wise, as in if you want to make gaming computers or whatever, it could obviously cause issues for you, I suppose, because really then all you're doing is shifting a box, which anyone can do. But I think PC wise, I think it'd be hard for them to take over because people have got that. A lot of gamers want to be able to customize their PC to be able to do it the way they want it. So I'm not sure it would work or not. I'm going to say a lot of time you can get a really small PC what will do just as good as a really big PC, but they just want a really big PC which looks really cool because it looks cool. So I think, don't get me wrong, I think in the future it may happen, but I think we're going to be a way off personally.
I think that there's going to be in the gaming community especially, always a place for the big gaming machine. Because we're spoiled to it. We like the lights, we like the fans, we just like that pretty machine sitting on the side. So I don't think the gaming community is going to graduate away to some little box, if you know what I mean.
No, but if you could put that box, if it was on a motherboard and it was integrated onto that motherboard, would you miss the graphics card?
Well, I would have a different take on it. I would say, like, if you look at Google Stadia, yeah, I know now if you're not a gamer, but like if you played around with Google Stadia and what they were trying to do with the games being streamed, yeah, like it's my bigger fear would be in our game, in our line of work, okay, isn't it going to be not long before computers are what's the name, just dumb machines in the sense everything's going to be cloud. You log into your games in cloud, you log into your
Well, you've already got your
system.
games on cloud.
Yeah, but I mean, as in you just stream everything down into so does it really matter what? Besides the fact that if you just have a really beautiful high crystal 4K screen, what else do you need?
Oh yeah, no, your screens are going to matter because you've got your frames per second and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To people, so that's going to matter. I would miss my graphics card though. I do believe I would.
I think it's also one of the things you've got to think as well is compatibility. Obviously, they've got to make them compatible with all the new stuff, but a lot of people don't play new stuff, or some of them are playing old stuff. Look at Counter-Strike, for example. How many people play that, and how old is that? You've got to really get something what's compatible with everything. So if I want to go out and buy a new gaming PC with a new graphics card, generally I know that's going to work on any game what I've pretty much bought in the last 20 years. Okay, you might have to put one or two mods on to make it work on the latest version of Windows or something, but generally it's going to work. And I think that's where Intel's had a few issues with the gaming side of things with their new graphics cards, is compatibility with a lot of older stuff that they just don't like it, and that's why a lot of people are sharing away. Don't get me wrong, over time it probably will. I think it'll probably, if it does take off, it'll probably be a split for a while, or it might. Well, if you think about it, it's probably going back to, shall we say, the olden days when pretty much everything was built into the processor in a way, and then they bought graphics cards out. Well, I'll say graphics cards, 2D cards at the time. Then they bought 3D cards out, and then they combined them. And so you never know; it might go back to how it was. But
don't get these new they have a place in society. I won't say they're horrible or anything. All in ones. Let's say you don't have a lot of space in your office and you need a PC that runs decent. You need at least an i5, blah, blah. But you don't need graphics card. You don't need, a whole lot of excess. That's just fine for an office machine, in my opinion. But now for a gaming rig, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So I think gaming rigs, we're in there for the long haul on those. But office machines, I do see a need for culling down on size because not everybody's got a lot of space in their office. So and not everybody in their office needs a graphics card or anything. I mean, you can get away with a basic machine in most offices, unless you're doing work with demanding graphics applications and things like that. So, there's a long way to go before we're completely booted with graphics cards.
Yeah, but obviously, on your show last week, you said your electric bill was £800.
850.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
If you think of how much of that is used through whirring fans in your office at the moment, and you actually added up how much those graphics cards and things are costing you, would you, from a business perspective, consider changing that? Where you don't need to a Nook or to
If I didn't need it, I would. But being that I do what I do, I have to have graphics cards.
Yeah.
To produce content that we do, you have to have a mighty little machine, like a gaming rig almost, is what I would describe. It's like a intermediate gaming machine that I use on a daily basis.
Is it a Quadro, or is it are you using Quadro or using a graphics card, a standard graphics card?
Standard.
Yeah, we're using standard for what we do. That, to be honest, a lot of the things we interchange and so forth. The main editing rig, I've got 4090. The second one we use is like a Threadripper machine with like a 3070. Don't find the Quadros okay, but if we want to do anything else, we tend to find that's good because then we can slap the graphics card in something else and away we go. But yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from with the prices. I think for offices and stuff that they probably would go down the arm if that was an option to save bills. But if for gamers, if they're wanting to spend $2,000 on a graphics card, I don't think that they care that much what the electric bill is going to be.
No.
Especially when mum and dad's going to be paying the bill.
Mm.
And they're not going to tell the mum and dad it costs them 15p an hour to run it.
No.
So, but yeah. So I think if you're spending that money,
Dad says, Alice, why have we got £1,000 electric bill? Is it that tumble dryer of yours? And Junior's sitting up there. Play Fortnite.
It's a bit like we're with cars, electric cars. You could say, oh yeah, they're a lot better, blah blah blah. Plenty of arguments against them, and let's just say they are. You'll still get those people who want a proper engine in there. They want something they can tinker with, play with. They want the sound of a V6 or a V8 or whatever it may be, and they just want it there. So I think it'll be one of those things that will probably seep into the mainstream if they get compatibilities and everything working properly. And they would have to, because a lot of people are running some really odd and wonderful and weird programs sometimes. But if they get the compatibility sorted, I can see it going into maybe home users, those people who are usually having it Celeron's, Pentiums, and maybe over time, maybe 10, 15 years. I think a few people have said in the chat that said similar sort of things. You never know, it may do. But who knows, 10, 15 years, we might not even need a computer at all. We'll have all chips implanted in our heads and we won't need one. So... so we just don't know what to that, or ChatGPT's taken over the world and no one will care. But there we go.
Back to ChatGPT.
There we go. I brought it up again. Right, guys. Let's have so it's right at the end of the show. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Cormac, briefly?
Quickly.
No, no. I think I chatted enough there for you. I'll have my dinner now.
What about
really
yourself,
enjoyed being on the show, by the way, and it was very, very interesting to hear your opinions. You know your stuff, man.
Is there anything else you want to briefly bring up, Ian, before we call it a night? So you're happy with that? I know you've got a few ideas, or at least your missus has got some ideas what she wants to shout out. So you'll have to drag her on the show next time.
The show. You need to bring her kicking and screaming on the show and tell her Tech Talk needs you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that goes for anyone else who wants to come on the show as well. It's actually a benefit you do come on the show. We do share the links in the note descriptions and stuff of obviously yourself. So, for example, Cormac's website's linked, Ian's website's linked in the show notes, which means you've got backlinking. This is something Ian, or at least his missus, was talking about the other day, is basically this show backlinks to your website. That goes for the YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, even
Apple.
the podcasts, Apple, Spotify, so forth, our website, all links to your website, which helps your SEO, which gets you seen more and so forth. So not only are you giving advice and having a good chat about tech, you're also doing your business good by actually being on the show, because it's sort of in a way promoting your own business.
It makes you look like a little local celebrity if they see or hear you on the local.
That's it. If you do a Google search for Cormac Crosshaven, you'll get all sorts on there of all the shows he's done and so forth with us over the years and so forth. And same with most of the other guests we've had on, like Will Maher and Ben Ashcroft and so forth, David Withers and so on. They're all over the place. So there we go. Right, guys.
Before we go, I just want to say this. If you have not signed up for TechMax and you want to go and interact with us in the biggest and best networking event, go to www.techfortechs.co.uk and go into the events section and book yourself a ticket. It's only £1. And where else can you go for £1 and get all these networking connections?
Well, for £1, it's actually cheaper for you to come to us and actually buy yourself a meal for the day.
Yeah.
So you can get yourself a free meal on
For
there.
a quid.
And as you can see on the screen, you can go to the techfortex.co.uk website, as Jen said, or you can go to tftmax.com or scan the QR code on the screen. Make it nice and simple and easy for you. So just scan that QR code if you are watching, but if you are listening on the podcast, it's www.tftmax.com.
And if you're a vendor or a distributor, email me info@techfortex.co.uk and I'll send you an information packet on how you can join us at this event.
There you go, and the email address is appearing on the screen in a few seconds. Right, so let me get that QR code right out of Ian's face. Let me just, there we go, so we can see him again. So, right, I'd like to say thank you to Cormac and thank you for Ian for the first time coming on. He's definitely brought a good subject up there and obviously answering a lot of your questions, so definitely would...
Faces, don't we?
That's it, and we'd definitely have Ian back on the show if he wants to in the future, especially with his missus next time. Hint, hint. So, Katie, if you want to get yourself on the show as well, or instead of Ian, feel free. So, doesn't have to be Ian on there. She can come on as well. Both of them at the same time. We're easy. Right, guys. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Sorry if we didn't respond to your questions. There's a lot come in. We couldn't respond to everything for obvious reasons. We've only got a limited time. And we'll see you next week. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you on Thursday. I believe, if I'm right, we do have a show on Thursday about refurbished tech with Ben Ashcroft at Bugs and Bytes. So he's going to be showing off his refurbished laptops and so forth. And he is actually coming to the studio here. So we'll have him on camera. Yeah. No, you're going to sit over there and watch.
Oh, darn.
Yeah. So he's going to be showing off the products, some of the products and stuff he actually does. So make sure you tune in next Thursday, 8 p.m. And again, if you want to be on the show or anything like that in the future, let us know. So good night, everyone. Thanks again, Cormac. Thanks, Ian. And thank you to all the viewers. See you later, everyone.
Good night.
Where can you go and meet hundreds of people just like you, strengthen existing relationships and forge new ones with vendors and distributors, and meet some of the biggest names in the industry, where you can go and see the newest tech and services that you need to make your IT business grow. And there'll be thousands of pounds worth of prizes up for grabs. Then what's more, you'll get that for a quid. TechMax 2023 will be on the 23rd of June at Magna Adventure and Science Centre near Meadowhall in Sheffield. This event will be over 4 times larger than last year's event, and this year's event will incorporate a live tech awards, dedicated meeting rooms, demo and interactive areas, and up to 800 other techs just like you. Get registered now at TFT